Hi, I'm here with Diane Devore of Devore Associates. Diane is an amazing landscape architect who has done so many beautiful estates. Go to her website, you'll just see some gorgeous gardens. And I'm excited to have her here today to talk to me about 105 West 122nd Street. Diane, thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Your garden design at the Townhouse is very special. It is honestly one of the most beautiful gardens I've seen in Harlem, and I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone what went into that design.
Well, it was interesting. We had worked with the client a number of years ago on a residence they had in Connecticut. And then he purchased another piece of property in Connecticut, and we were going to begin working with him. And he all of a sudden that came to a halt, and he called and said, "I've purchased a property in Harlem." And so we began working with him. He is a very knowledgeable gardener, and he really wanted to make sure that it was a garden that was beautiful to look at, but it was also a garden that could be used. And one thing we tried to incorporate was to have not only a dining area, which is underneath a pergola, and I think it can be magical at night with lights, and the plantings have now begun to fill in, but also to have a small spot where you could set up a few chairs and read a paper and capture the sunlight. So even though it's a small space, it offers a great deal. And, you know, since he was an avid gardener, but would travel some, we also set it up in that the times that he really wanted to do intensive gardening, he could, you know, where we could add bulbs in the spring and annuals in the summer. And then if he wasn't around, it wouldn't matter because the structure was there. And so there is structure that is there all season. And I think that's what makes it so magical. We were very fortunate in that we were able to get a top-notch construction firm out of Greenwich, Connecticut, to come in and do this project with us. I typically don't work in New York City. We do a lot of large residential estates in the tri-state area. But since he was a former client, we thought it would be fun, and he was just a wonderful person to work with. So we started this, and it does have, you know, the formal element to it. And then working with these contractors, we brought in all the topsoil. We brought in the top irrigation firm out of Greenwich, Connecticut. We brought in, you know, everything was top notch. The plant material, the installation, you know, we had, you know, tarps laid across so we could bring in the wheelbarrows across the bottom of the house and bring in topsoil. So I think that's why when you look at this garden, it's just beautiful, but it's also because it was really done. It was installed perfectly, and everything is in place, and it is the best of the best.
It is exquisite, Diane. So congratulations to you and the homeowner on your amazing collaboration. And having a townhouse owner myself, I know how hard it can be to not only construct, but maintain a garden. And what really struck me the first time I saw that garden, it was so strikingly beautiful, but it was very clear to me once I stepped into it that it was very functional. And it appears to me that it was created in such a way to be low maintenance.
And it is. I think that once you are able to set up the structure of a garden and you've achieved the heights for the hedges, there is very little maintenance. You know, it is about once the design's in place, and we always say simple, simple, simple. And when you bring it down to a few core elements, it lives on and on. And that's why I said you could make changes if you wanted to. You would keep that structure, but you could add more pots, you know, you could add more annuals, or you could just keep it exactly as it is, and it would still be beautiful. And even the terrace itself, the small terrace off the kitchen, is charming. And we set up all these pots there at one point that were full of evergreens. And so that all season long, when you were in the kitchen, you'd be looking out onto these beautiful pots. And, we'd enhance them in the spring and fall and summer, but in the winter, we had that structure. So that's what I'm saying, that it really, it evolves. And even in the front of the house, there's a small little sunken garden area that we had a beautiful cluster of pots. And that's where we had the sun. So we had the lavender, and we had, different plants growing in there, herbs. And there's just, it's amazing that on such a small plot, it's endless. There are endless possibilities of what to do.
Well, there are. And that's why what you did was so amazing, because you guys made the perfect choices for a really beautiful garden. Those evergreens make such a difference, especially right now. We're filming in February.
Right.
We're desperate to see green. So those evergreens make a difference. And, we forget in the wintertime that sun can be really strong in the summertime. The pergola is a wonderful idea because you can be out there in the summer heat and get some shade.
Yeah, it is a magical, we often said it was almost like a little jewel. And you're really amazed that you are in the middle of New York City when you're sitting there.
It can be shockingly quiet sometimes.
Yes, it can. It can. Yes. But it's beautiful, and it's easy access too. Either from downstairs, it just, it flows to walk out of that room into the pergola area. I think that also was very important. It's just all the connections and the flow.
Diane, thank you for sharing your design insights into what I think is arguably the best garden in any Harlem brownstone I've seen to date.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, and it was fun having worked on all these large estates to really have this small, intimate garden where every detail counted. And that is the key point there, is everything was thought through, designed from the irrigation to the fencing, to those smoke glass panels, to each plant. It all, because it's such a small space, you really had to look at it as a whole and make sure that each piece was perfect. And I think it's just evolved with time and become better. Well, so someone will be very lucky to have this garden.
Yes, they will. Thank you, Diane. It was great to visit with you today. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.